Microphone is there or no? Oh, he didn't bring the microphone. Okay. Okay. We need.
You want chai or anything? Stays not safe. Sharif, you ready? Sharif, you ready? Yeah. Who's gonna recite? You're gonna recite. Before you call me to recite, I'll find someone for you.
Well, very good. Where you got you? Few verses.
Not yet, but just get ready, you know.
Did you travel this?
He's getting the microphone. See, I think we just go to the mic station. I have a lot of questions. Can you get more left?
I'm dreading it because it's so complicated. Not complicated, I can make.
I don't think any of the word.
I know, I know.
Only
I realize I know. It's fine, we can do without it.
You have 2 mil.
It's fine, I'm okay without it.
We may start. Who took my chair from here? No.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام ميم. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك وبالآخرة هم يوقنون أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون إن الذين كفروا سواء عليهم أنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون ختم الله على قلوبهم وعلى سمعهم وعلى أبصارهم غشاوة ولهم عذاب عظيم.
ما شاء الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Inshallah, we're going to begin, and I'd like to just let you know from the beginning that there might be some things where you might have some questions in between. Please just raise your hands or just say it out loud. Zakat is of that kind of nature, and the kind of discussions we'll be having. Some might be a little complex where you might think, okay, I need you to repeat that. So just put your hand up anytime and just, inshallah, just stop me, inshallah. So beginning, straight away, I want to get straight into it, inshallah. First of all, I want to make 3 points, and I want you to remember these 3 points. What is zakat? Zakat linguistically means something that, one meaning is purification. So essentially what's happening when you earn your wealth, there's a part of that wealth that doesn't belong to you. That wealth has to be given up, it has to be spent in the path of Allah, according to how Allah and His Rasul have taught us. The fact that if it remains in your wealth, it's a concept where it pollutes your entire wealth. You know, as we say that earning halal is important, this is also earning halal, making sure your pure wealth remains pure. Number 2, zakat means increase. Whatever you give for the sake of Allah, Allah will increase in it. So the greatest beneficiary of your zakat is you yourself. Not the recipient, the person who's taking the zakats from you, but the greatest beneficiary is yourself. Second thing I want you to remember, that the objective of zakat, where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this will really kind of give us an opportunity to internalize this, what's the objective of zakat? Objective of zakat is to know your community. Know who's struggling in your community. That's why at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, zakat would be given in the immediate community. And the entire objective was you get to know your community. You know who's struggling, who's moved in. And subhanAllah, we learned whilst we're doing the seminar on zakat, we learned that making that person an owner is a condition. So you go physically and you give it to that person. And you know when you go and give it to that person, you know what you're going to realize? I'm giving them $250 of zakat. That's not even going to cover their rent. What's your next concern? Sadaqah is an option. Networking with your connections. Brother, do you have a job? I don't have a job. Okay, what kind of experience do you have? Let me see if I know someone who can give you a job. Can you see how it connects the entire community? And today, because we're so disconnected, we live in a world it's a global village, but we're disconnected with those who are immediately around us. That was my second point. Third point before we begin zakat, inshallah, is that zakat is firm upon something that grows. Something that grows. The Sharia will never burden you with anything. Islam isn't there to burden you. So for example, say for example your wealth is like your body. Allah is not asking for your hand. Is your hand replaceable? Will it regrow? What is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asking? It's like the example of trimming your hair. You look smart on the day and it'll come back, it'll grow back, and Allah will increase, inshallah. So these are the three fundamental things we need to remember. Zakat is a purification of our wealth. Zakat is a growth of our wealth, and we're the greatest beneficiaries when it comes to zakat. Allah, man dha alladhi yuqridu Allah qardan hasana. You're giving a qard hasana to Allah, Allah will return it. Number two is about getting to know your community. Many times in our community, immediately we don't offset our zakat in our communities. Communities here struggle. In England, there's a National Zakat Foundation that was started, and they said there was a zakat request every 5 minutes. A zakat request every 5 minutes. We're living in the first world. And the third, that the objective is to know your community, to be able to network and communicate between different individuals and help those people around you. So inshallah, let's begin. First of all, who is zakat fard upon? So the first condition is the person has to be a Muslim. And you might think, okay, that makes sense. I'm saying this for a reason. So if someone accepts Islam, they don't have to pay zakat for the previous years. It's from the moment they've accepted Islam. I need your responses as well, so just to make sure we're on the same page. The second condition is the person has to be sane. If someone will discuss about mental health issues, etc. later, but if someone is not sane, zakat is not fard upon them, and they can be millionaires. The third condition is the person has to be an adult. And this is where there's a slight difference of opinion. According to Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, children will not give zakat. So let me just break that down whilst we're on this discussion. Some parents will keep a fund for their child's college tuition, right? Do they give zakat on that?
They should.
They should? You think so? Who does it belong to?
The child.
It belongs to the child. So according to Imam Abu Hanifa, you will not give zakat on that. Unless you're treating it, but there's details in that. So for example, you make a fund for your child, you put in a certain amount of money, it's 15, 20,000, but you keep on going and taking money out from there. So you take 1,000, you put 1,000 back, you take 50. That means you're not giving it to the child, you keep on messing with that. The fact that you keep on getting back in contact with that wealth and making reductions from that wealth, now what will happen? You have to give zakat. That's not treated as a child's. If you had given it to the child, you never touched it. It's the child, and the child has no zakat for the upon him. Okay. The last condition is the nisab. Just a show of hands, do we know what nisab is? Or is this the first time we're hearing this? We've heard this before. So the nisab is the threshold which you have to reach for you to have to give zakat. We're going to talk about that inshallah. So these are the four conditions. Muslim, sane, adult, and an owner of the nisab. This is the threshold. So what is the nisab? So traditionally, if you think about it, let's break this down. Economies or economical advancement was of three types. The first, animal herding, right? So people would have goats, camels, cows, and they would graze these animals and they would reproduce, and like that they would make money, right? So what the Sharia did, the Sharia said, okay, if you have 40 goats, you have to give one to the other person. If you have 30 cows, you have to give one to the other person. If you have 5 camels, you have to give one to someone else as in zakat. The idea, subhanAllah, is fascinating. Zakat isn't just about giving wealth. You know what you're doing? You know when you give someone else one goat, or you give them a cow, they're joining the economic ladder now. You're making them sustainable now as well. So, what is zakat essentially upon? The nisab is basically worked out according to gold and silver. So gold and silver at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the form of, it was a means of payment. Where you give gold or silver, dinar, dirham, etc. So what is that limit? That limit is 87.48 grams of gold. At the time of Rasulullah, this was 20 gold coins. 20 gold coins. And in silver, it was 200 dirhams. So 200 dirhams and 20 gold coins were of the exact same value. But over time, what happened, guys? Silver depreciated, right? Massively. So this is where the complication comes in. That do you base it on silver or do you base it on gold? Let me just give you some. Silver has increased in its value. So we'll talk about that inshallah. So to calculate the nisab of zakat, you follow these steps. If you do it according to gold, you do 87.48 grams of gold times by the value today. The value today is $145.54 per gram. What's the total? 12,732. So if you have that amount, you reach that threshold, that's when zakat will become fard upon you, and I'll explain that in the next slide. If you do it according to silver, can you see the massive difference now? 612.35 grams times by $2.38, $1,454. So you have to reach one of these thresholds, either this in money or this in cash, both in cash. Either you reach 12,732 or 1,452. If you only have, say for example, you're a lady and all you possess is gold, so you'll go according to the gold nisab, right? So if you've got gold over $12,000, you reach the threshold of zakat. What if you've got mixed assets? You've got money, you've got silver, and then you have a little bit of gold. In that case, you'll go with silver. Why? Because the fuqaha say, أَنْفَعْ لِلْفُقَرَى. It's more beneficial for the poor people. It's beneficial for the poor that you go with this lower threshold, because this is a high threshold to reach. This is a lower threshold. This probably everyone's reached that threshold. But this one is far more difficult. But you can, if you want to, you can also go with gold. It's entirely up to you. Whichever position you prefer, whichever one you prefer. But remember that you want to be giving. You don't want to be the one who's like withholding with zakat. So when does zakat become fard? This is a big question. Zakat becomes fard. Let's look at this chart. So say for example, this is the nisab amount. How much was the nisab, guys? For silver? 1450 something. And for gold it was? 12,000 plus. Say for example, you reach one of those two nisabs and it falls in Ramadan and it's the 2nd of Ramadan. Do you have to give anything? The first time you reach that threshold, you don't have to give anything. All you have to do is make a note of that date. The first time you reach that threshold. So for the younger ones or the parents who are here, please ensure you teach your children these things. When you reach that threshold, you have to make a note of that date. And it's a very special day in your life. It's more special than your birthday. Do you have to do anything on your birthday from a Sharia perspective? Does everyone know their birthday here? Everyone knows their birthday, right? Does everyone know their zakat date? Maybe not, right? So the zakat date is extremely important. So the moment you reach that threshold, say for example, it's a young boy, he becomes maturity, right? He becomes mature, he becomes an adult. At that time, say for example, his parents are doing really well, and they've already given him the threshold. He's got $15,000 in his account. He'll make a note of that date from the day he becomes baligh, from the day he becomes mature. What if he's a businessman who's trying to find his way? The moment he reaches the nisab, he will make the note of the date. And remember, the date is the Islamic date. He's not going to put down 7th of February. He's going to put down the Islamic date. So that's the first time you reach the threshold. You don't need to do anything. You reach the threshold, you made the note of the date, now you wait for the next year. The next time that date comes around again, you will check your standing wealth, you'll minus your deductibles, things that you owe to other people, and you'll give 2.5% of that. We're going to go into the details of it. This is just an outline. If there's any increase, can you see in this chart, there's a decrease here. In Rabiul Awwal, the person dropped below nisab. That doesn't make a difference. We're not interested in that difference. It all depends on that end date. Is that clear, guys? It all depends on, so for example, in this case, 1st of Ramadan, you reach the threshold this year. Next Ramadan, you will check how much you have and you'll give zakat 2.5% of that. If it's above nisab. If it's below nisab, do you have to give it? No. But you still remember the date and you look at it again next year. Because zakat isn't on your entire wealth. That's where people get mistaken. People think it's like income tax. It's not. It's a snapshot. Just one day, that particular day, the snapshot of what you own on that day. You could be a millionaire the day before and you could make a huge investment. We'll talk about those things later. And all of a sudden, you're left with nothing to give. So it just depends on that one day. That's all it depends on. But if you were to, during the year, if you were to hit zero, So let's say we started here. Can you see this? This is Ramadan. You reached Nisab. You reached about $1,400. Ramadan, what's after Ramadan? Which month? Shawwal. Dhul Qa'dah. In Dhul Qa'dah, you reach a zero. Now you have to reset and you have to see the next time you cover, you reach that threshold again. Where does he reach the threshold here? In Safar. So now what will he do? He'll make a note of that date, and the next Safar, he will look at his belongings and he will give zakat accordingly. Can you see the date reset? Initially his date was Ramadan. And that's a big mistake. Some people say, oh, I want to give in Ramadan, so Ramadan's my date. No, it's not. Ramadan isn't your date. But sometimes, say for example, you've never worked out your date. You've never ever worked out your date, and time's passed, and you just don't know what the date is. You will make an assumption of the date. For younger people, it's a lot easier. Everything is tracked. You can look at your accounts and figure things out. When was it that you reached that threshold? For the older generation, you can make an estimation. There's calendars out there. Say, for example, you came to the US in 1987, and you know that in 1989, all your debts were paid off, and you had the threshold. You'll go back and check. What will you check? The Islamic date for 1989 July. And then you make an estimation, this is my date, and that's the date you're going to stick with going forward. What you can do is give in Ramadan. So for example, my date is Rabiul Awwal. My date is the 12th of Rabiul Awwal. I want to give in Ramadan, I can give in Ramadan. I can give in advance as well. So Ramadan's here now, and my date is coming in Rabiul Awwal. I can start paying my zakat from now, but what will I do? In Rabiul Awwal, I will make an assessment of everything. If there's anything that was more that I paid, that's been overpaid, I can pass that on to the next year. If I've underpaid, I can make sure I cover that cost. Right? Is that clear, guys?
Yeah.
Yes, questions? Yes?
So this only applies if your wealth is zero,
Yes.
right? The previous, where if it goes below this, you don't care.
You don't care.
This only applies if you hit zero.
If you hit zero. Yes. And we're going to learn how you hit zero. You can have $800 in your account, but then you can have 10 grand a loan that you need to pay off. Right? You hit zero essentially. You got into minus. So be mindful of that as well. Okay? Yes?
Do you have the whole fiscal year to pay that amount off? So let's say from Rajab to Rajab, do you pay that all off together, or do you pay it within a certain time?
You can pay off throughout the year. But always document it. Always document it and always stay ahead of your zakat. You have to document it because, God forbid, say for example, a person passes away. Now his inheritors know what needs to be done in that case. You know how much zakat is due. So always document it and let someone know, yes.
So just for clarification, you hit Nisab in Safar. You get
In Ramadan. Okay, yeah, in Safar.
the second time.
Yeah.
You've hit it in Safar. You get to the next Safar. On that date, you need to pay. You don't have it the next year.
You don't need to pay. You need to work out what you have as a snapshot, and then you can pay. You can pay monthly. You know, some people choose to pay monthly. They like to pay, I don't know, $20 a month, $30 a month, $50 a month. That's fine. You can pay off, but you know that that's how much is due from you for zakat. There's a lot of other questions I know that are coming to your mind, but let's cover it. Let's cover the content. But if you have any immediate questions regarding the point that I'm making, then we'll ask inshallah. Okay, which assets are liable for zakat? So I'm going to refer to these as zakatable assets. So remember that. What am I going to call them? Zakatable assets. Those assets that are liable for zakat. The first is gold and silver, in any form. In any form. It could be a watch, a 24-karat watch, or it could be a necklace, it could be a brick of gold, it could be anything. It's zakatable, right? However, if it's less than 50% gold, there's no zakat on it. If it's less than 12 carats. So for example, I have a watch and it's gold plated. Is that zakatable? No, it's not zakatable. It's below 12 carats of gold. Second, cash in any form. It could be in rupees back home. It could be in dollars here. It could be in dakas in Bangladesh. It could be in Egyptian guineas. Whatever it is, you have to calculate that in your zakat. All the cash you own, right? Third one is stock trade. Now remember, guys, I want you to pay attention here. What do I mean by stock trade? It's business merchandise. Anything you bought with the intention to sell. That's important. Say for example, I buy a house and this belongs to me, and today I put it on the market, and tomorrow is my zakat date. Do I need to give zakat on that house?
Yes.
I didn't buy it with the intention to sell. I'm just making this. I don't buy and sell phones. It just so happens I'm selling my phone. It depends on what you bought it, the intention you bought it with. So, for example, let's look at someone's convenience store. They have a convenience store. Everything they have in there, they bought it with the intention to sell.
Yes.
You know, all of these products, they have the ice creams, the crisps, the chocolates, and all of these things, they see them as money, right? It's just like cash for them. So they're trying to get something out of it. So anything you buy with the intention to sell is zakatable. It's something you're going to calculate. We're going to look at examples. Don't worry, everything's going to become more clear, inshallah. Yes?
What if you buy something with the intent to sell and then you no longer have the intent to sell?
Brilliant. Very good question. You buy something with the intention to sell and then you change your intention, it's no longer zakatable. But you can't be playing tricks with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? You can't say like, is the zakat date? And you're like, whoa, I was flipping that house. You know what, Ya Allah, my intention is not to sell it. And you sell it a week later. You're playing games at that point, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, alimun bi dhati sudur. Yes?
If I have two houses, one in America, one in Sri Lanka. So I want to pay one house.
You don't pay zakat on any of that unless you bought the house in Sri Lanka with the intention to sell. You bought it and you said, and my objective is to sell it. Is that clear? Okay. Yes?
What are rental properties?
Rental properties, no. There's no zakat on rental properties.
There is a cut on the income you get from the rental property.
Jazakallah. We're going to come to that inshallah. Jazakallah for pointing that out.
But that too after meeting the nisab.
That too after meeting the nisab and on that day. You could have spent it all and your date comes and you've got no money to give zakat. Does that make sense? Okay? Let's move on inshallah. So gold, silver, cash, stock trade. Anything you bought with the intention to? Sell. Sometimes, okay, let me just throw this in there as well. I'm going to throw a few spanners in the works every now and then. You buy something, say for example, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, let me give a respectable example. Say for example, 20 years ago, you bought Harry Potter DVDs, right? You bought, huh? I came with the worst example, you don't want to hear the first one. Say for example, you bought Harry Potter DVDs for your store. You buy, now does anyone watch DVDs? No one watches DVDs, right? It's dead stock. You don't need to include it in your zakat. Does that make sense? It's dead stock, it has no value to it. It's going to be hard to sell. Maybe you can sell it for 10 cents, but that's maybe at a car boot sale. What do you call a car boot sale here? You know those?
Yard sale.
Yard sale. You know, maybe there you can sell it for 10 cents, but it's not zakatable. Does that make sense? So dead stock, you minus that. Next one is livestock. Livestock is also zakatable. We're not going to go into livestock here today. Well, I gave you an overview at the beginning. 40 cows, 40 goats, one goat. 30 cows, one cow, jazakallah for remembering. And 5 camels, one cow. Right? That's in livestock. And the final one is agriculture. So traditionally people also, they grew things, right? They made produce. In that case, you're going to give zakat, but we don't need to go into the details. If someone has something like that, you need to go and speak to a mufti or look into it and figure out how you give zakat, inshallah. Okay, let's go through some non-zakatable assets. I'm trying to get you used to these terms because I'm going to use them a lot. Zakatable, non-zakatable. Jewelry other than gold and silver. You have a diamond, you have rubies, you have pearls, they're very expensive. Oh, they're $30,000 worth, no, it doesn't matter. It's not applicable, it's not zakatable, right? Cars, you have all these cars for personal use. When is a car zakatable? That's a good question.
If it's in inventory.
If it's inventory, right? If you bought, if Brother Razan and yourself, you bought cars with the intention to sell, it's zakatable. But if you buy it for your home, do you need to pay a zakat on it? No. Household appliances, no zakat. You've got a nice washing machine, you've got a nice fridge, freezer, all of these things, no zakat on it. Properties, this is where your question came in, rental properties. Any properties you own, non-zakatable, unless you bought them with the intention to sell. That's simple. Okay, now let's look at the type of assets. Now we know what zakatable is and not zakatable. Zakatable, we know this, gold, silver, cash, livestock, agriculture, business merchandise, is all zakatable. Right guys? Non-zakatable are of two types. This is relevant when you're trying to receive zakat. I'm going to explain. Non-zakatable is of how many types? 2 types. One, essential assets that you need to live by them. And the second is non-essential. When I give the examples, it's going to all make sense, inshallah. So just remember that. Zakatable assets are of 2 types, essential and non-essential. Yes?
At some point, are you going to go over like retirement stuff?
Yes, we're going to go over all of that, inshallah. It's going to be a long night. What time are we on?
That's no
Bismillah.
problem.
Bismillah, let's go.
We ate and we are here and they all have samosas.
Alhamdulillah. So, okay. So, essential assets. What are essential assets? Your house, your clothes, your cars, your furniture, your appliances. These are all essential. These are non-zakatable. Remember we said 2 types of non-zakatable, essential and non-essential. Non-essential would be your high-end watches. You've got Rolex watches that you just, you did it as an investment. You've got supercars. You've got Lamborghinis and Porsche. Is a Porsche a supercar? I don't think so. Right? It's debatable. Supercars. You've got yachts. You've got vacation homes. You've got fine arts. You've got all of these expensive luxuries. These are all non-essential. You can live without them. Is that clear? Where does this make a difference? Let's look now where it makes a difference. Person A. Blue is zakatable assets. Green is non-zakatable, non-essential. Non-zakatable, non-essential. So both are above the threshold. Does he pay zakat? Yes. Can he receive zakat? No. Person 2. He's not got much zakatable assets. Say for example, he's got $500 in the bank. But he's got a yacht, he's got vacation homes, he's got Rolex watches. Does he pay zakat? No. Can he receive zakat? No. Now the third person, they don't have zakatable assets, they have no gold, silver, watches, inventory, but then they don't have anything additional to essential assets. So they don't have any yachts, they don't have any supercars, they don't have anything like that, but they have a house. They own a house, they own a condo, they have a car. That person doesn't pay zakat and they are valid recipients of zakat. They can receive zakat. Is that clear, guys? Okay.
Even though they own a home, they can still
They can still receive zakat. Remember, look, let's go back. What did I say? Essential assets, a house is an essential asset. It's a slight grey area. Shall I tell you why it's a grey area? Say for example, someone owns a huge mansion. Okay, now you're pushing it. You don't need to live in a mansion. But someone owns a respectable home, in which they have 3 bedrooms, they've got 4 kids. That's an essential. Okay? It'll be considered an essential. They have steady income. Zakat, in zakat, we're not interested in income. We're interested in what you have on that day.
No, but if they are like eligible for the zakat, if they have a steady income coming in, they are living like a
in a condo, but all
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at that. The person has a steady income. They make, go on, give me a figure.
let's say $2,000.
They make $2,000, and the deductibles for the month are like $1,800. They're left with $200. They're eligible for zakat. They're eligible for zakat. Okay? Yes.
In the first category where you said they pay zakat, do they pay zakat on the non-zakatable assets?
No, only zakat. That's the difference. Zakatable assets mean you pay zakat on it. Non-zakatable means you don't pay zakat on it. Yeah. Can we move on? Is that clear, guys? Let's move on. I need to keep your attention as well, because it kind of gets if you doze off for a second, that's it. You're gone. Okay, let's do some practice now. Let's do some practice, guys. Sisters, do some practice now. I'm going to ask you a question. Do I give zakat on this or not? Unless what?
It's for sale.
So, inventory.
It's for sale?
Unless it's an
You
inventory.
bought it.
Unless it's inventory, you bought it yourself. Zakat or not?
Same,
Unless-
Same concept of knife. That's why I'm trying to catch you. Just making sure that you've got the point. Zakatable or not?
Yes.
Yes. Rupees?
Yes.
Zakatable. Wait. I've not explained what you're seeing. It's a diamond
Diamond, no.
No.
with a gold necklace.
Yes.
On what condition will you give it on the gold necklace?
If it's a
If it's above 50% gold, over 12 carats and over. Okay? Gold plated watch.
No.
Why?
Because it's-
Alhamdulillah. A house that you put on rent.
no.
only the rent.
Only the rent, but that comes into cash, right? But the house, there's no zakat on it. You can have multiple properties.
You're good.
Are we good? Okay.
The appliances in the previous slide, if that was bought for intention to sell, then
Yes, so you look, this happens a lot nowadays. People flip things from Facebook, right? Is there any of those wheeler dealers here? Yeah, mashallah, it's good, it's good. People flip things from Facebook, right? They're very random things. You know, I put the craziest things on for sale on Facebook and they're gone. Someone just comes and picks them up and takes them, right? So if someone is buying and selling on Facebook, it might be an old chair that they bought, but they bought it with the intention to sell. They're going to have to add it in the zakat. Yes, yes.
So if I have multiple watches, valuable watches,
No zakat.
multiple watches,
Multiple watches, no zakat. You can have Rolexes, no zakat. The only time it affects you is when you're trying to take zakat. Okay, that's a non-essential. Sell that and eat from that, right? Okay, guys, let's continue, inshallah. Let's go into business now. So we said inventory is zakatable. Is due on your stock and inventory held for resale. Anything you bought with the intention to sell and is calculated at retail value. You can't say, oh, I bought these, I picked these up for 50 cents a pop, and that's what I'm going to put into my zakat. No. What are you going to sell it for? You're selling it for $2, $4. You will put it on that day, the value of that day. Is that clear, guys? Yeah? Rental real estate is exempt from zakat. We already know this. I've thrown this in there just so that it doesn't throw you off. Because that's also considered business, right? If you're in a partnership in a business, you will give partnership according to your ownership share. I have a business with brother Anis. We do, we made the restaurant business. I have 40% stake and he has 60%. I will work it out according to the 40%, right? And again, in that, I will work out the zakatable things. Because in businesses, you have multiple things, right? We're going to come to that, yes?
Now, I have a question on the inventory that you said. The amount that we own in inventory is the amount that we bought it for, not we are selling it for. So that's actually my cash money because it's a cashable asset, right, I have. So I was under the assumption, and I think that is that we only have to pay the zakat on the value that we have purchased, because that's the only way we can track the inventory value, not the retail value, because we don't know the retail value, and we are not sure all the time that you are selling at the same retail price, because there are discount structures for certain type of group of people, right? So in this type of case, when somebody is wholesaling it, is not actually selling at the retail price. So
that's a good point you made. So if you're wholesaling, you'll give it you value your zakat at the wholesale value, right?
So there is no such thing as a wholesale as a standard wholesale. It depends on the type of customer.
Yeah, so that's that. But if you say, for example, let's go back to the convenience store. Convenience store, easy example.
I to get my store.
We'll come to your store. Yeah, mashallah. So if it's a convenience store, whatever you're selling, a bottle of water is going to cost you $2.
Correct.
You might have got it for 99 cents. No, you sell it for $2. That's what you're going to put down in your zakat working out. You're going to put down.
They are the retail places.
Retail places.
They are retail places.
Yes, they're retail.
They are wholesale places.
They're wholesale places. They will do it according to wholesale. Yes.
I guess for taxes, if there are products, you pay taxes on it. Does that matter?
We're going to come to deductibles. We're going to come to deductibles. Don't worry, we're going to come to deductibles. Okay, guys, I've got everyone's attention. Yes.
My question is on like this retail store. So sometimes you can sell you have the intention to sell with this price. Like, for example, you put the price of the
Water bottle.
So and then one day you give like a discount. The price is not like it's low, so you said put it down. The price is changed, so the selling price. So how much we have to pay exactly?
So what you do, look, if you've got if you've got a discount on and it's your zakat date, you'll value it at the discount rate. But if you've not got a discount on, that means you're still selling for $2. So that for you, the value is $2 of this. So you put the $2 down, the retail value on that day, the value you're selling the item for on that day. And that again, for the Facebook guys. If you bought something on Facebook and you put it on for $60, but no one's buying it, and the day before your zakat date, you bring it down to $40. And on your zakat day, you want to sell it for $40. You're not taking a penny less. You're going to put $40 down. But if on that day you've also made the intention, no, I'm reduced it. It's $30 now. You will then put that down. That's again, a lot of this is to do with your intention. It's to do with what you can't on the day I could say, okay, it's my zakat date. It's a Sunday. My store is closed. everything's off 50%. You're messing around there, right? So you've got to be serious, and there's got to be your intention is involved, inshallah. Okay, let's continue. Now, in your business, you're going to have some zakatable assets again and non-zakatable assets. This is very important to understand when we come to stocks and your own business. So your zakatable assets in a business would be your cash that you've got, stock in trade, inventory, cash and trade receivables, right? The things that you've sold and you're waiting for that money to come in, right? Say, for example, I've sold 100 shoes and I've made the sale. The sale's done. I'm just waiting for that check to clear. That and my zakat date comes, I'm going to include that check in my zakat. Okay?
Even though you don't receive that money?
Even though I've not received it. We're going to look at debts later. Don't worry. That's just because I know it's just about the cash, the check clearing. Once the check's cleared, the money's in my hand.
No, the cash is not coming. The buyer holds the money for a long period of time. It's not
We're going to come to that in debts.
Okay.
We're going to come to that in debts. Non-zakatable in businesses. Your property. You've got, remember the business me and brother Anis had? We have a property. Is that zakatable? No. Machinery and equipment. We've got deep fryers. We've got grills in there. We've got everything in there. Not zakatable. Furniture. Not zakatable unless the furniture is made of gold. Just imagine that. If you've got a gold chair, you're going to have to give zakat on it. Delivery trucks. Not zakatable. Trademarks, etc. These are all non-zakatable. Now let me just make you think a little. Say for example, there's a business. I'm going to run through some things. This is where it's going to get a little tricky, but I'm going to see if you're paying attention. I've got a cake store. I've got a cake business. I sell cakes. On my zakat date, I've got I make some fresh cakes on the day. In the back, I've got sugar. I've got flour. What else do you need for cakes? Eggs. I've got eggs. I've got milk. What will I do?
You're not paying zakat on those.
You don't pay zakat?
Because it's not essential.
No, but all of this is going towards the cakes that I'm making.
You can estimate the value of the cakes and pay zakat on the...
You pay on the final product of your inventory.
You pay, there's two things here. You pay on the final product. So say for example, I had 200 cakes. I will do the retail value of those cakes and put them as my zakat. Everything else, my salt, sugar, cake mix, whatever it is, I will work out the value for that as well. That's also zakatable because it goes towards the final product. You know the cakes I'm selling, when all of those ingredients come together, the cake is made. It goes, whatever goes towards the final product is also zakatable. But let me make one last point. Let's understand it like this. I make furniture. That's an example to understand. I make furniture and I bought lots of wood. The furniture I've made is zakatable at retail value. The wood I have is zakatable at the retail value for wood, not for what I'm going to make out of it. Does that make sense? So let's look at the store again. In my store, there's 20 kgs, 20 pounds of sugar. I will just value how much 20 pounds of sugar costs on the day. If I've got salt, again, the same thing. Flour, all of these things, again, the same thing. Yes? Yeah, the question says.
Its value, if you were to sell the sugar, or what you bought it at?
The value it sells at, right? So that's basically essentially the value that I bought it at. I bought sugar, I bought 20 pounds of sugar from Restaurant Depot. I bought it for $100. Add that to your zakat, $100 of sugar you've got. Yeah. Are we still holding on, inshallah? Hanging, inshallah. Okay, now let's go on to shares. So we understood your regular businesses. Today you have a bigger problem. People buy shares, they buy stocks. There's two things here. Either you purchased it to resell. You buy stocks, you do day trading. I'm not saying halal or haram. I'm just talking about the zakatable aspect of it. You buy things and you make a quick sale. You buy it today, you sell it tomorrow. You buy it tomorrow, you sell it the day after. You purchased it to resell. Can you think how you do zakat of that? The value on the day of the entire share. It's just like inventory. You bought it to sell. But then there's some investments that you make that you know what, you're not selling, you're just putting them in for investment so you can get dividends from it. And over time, if the value goes up, then you might sell. In that case, there's going to be two things. Zakat is due on the dividends. If any dividends has come through, any money you've got from that share or from that stock, you will pay zakat on that. The second, this is where it gets tricky. So everyone just hold it. Say for example, I bought shares in Apple. Now, when I buy a share in Apple, I have ownership in the company of a certain percentage of everything. Some of those things are zakatable and some things are not zakatable. In Apple, for example, Apple might have an inventory, now that's zakatable, right? Apple might have cars, are they zakatable? No. Can you see, some things are zakatable, other things are not zakatable. What do I do in that case? In that case, I bring out the balance sheet. The company will provide a balance sheet. I look at the zakatable options and the non-zakatable assets, and I will work my zakat out accordingly. That sounds difficult, right? Say, for example, someone's got multiple shares, what are you going to do? What the ulama have done, and again, I will go back to National Zakat Foundation in England, they looked at the top 100 companies that were listed, and they worked out a proxy. And the proxy is 25%. The proxy is 25%. What does that mean? That you will give 2.5% of 25% of each share.
25% value of the each share.
2.5% you give in zakat of 25% of the value of each share.
Value.
Yes.
The value is $100. You pay 2.5 of $25.
Yes. Is that clear? You'll use a proxy in that case. But that's only if you purchased it for investment. If you purchased it to resell, what will you have to do? You'll have to give zakat on the entire value of the shares. Shall we look at crypto right now as well? Let's look at crypto. Yes.
A lot of companies now, they auto-enroll you in a 401k plan.
We're going to come to that. Pensions, and investments, we leave that to the end. Yes?
Yeah, same question for 1K. You can't touch for like...
We're going to come to that at the end, inshallah. That I've left for the end because that's a big headache. Yeah? Yes?
What if someone found out like multiple years later they had stocks that they were given that they don't even know they bought?
We'll come to that, backdating. That'll come under backdating. Okay. Cryptocurrencies. Now, cryptocurrencies are going to be treated as currency. Essentially, that's what the fatwa is at the moment. That is just treated as a currency. Because it's a payment token, you will treat it like cash. So if you've got 25,000 in Bitcoin, you treat it as 25,000 that you need to add to your zakatable amount. Okay? Now, there's NFTs. So they're not payment tokens. In that case, what will you do? If you bought it to resell, you're buying it to resell, you treat it as inventory. Right? If you bought it just because you wanted to keep it, it's just an investment, there's no zakat on it. Clear? Yes.
Do you convert it all to like, for example, you have like Bitcoin and Ethereum and whatnot, do you convert it to its USD value?
Sorry, you convert it to?
So if you have multiple different cryptocurrencies and whatnot, do you convert it to its like USD value and give
Dollar
it
value.
Yes, yes. Essentially, that's what you do. Unless you want to give you zakat in Bitcoin, I don't know. Like, if that's possible. Yes.
What about like if you're paid in like bars or like in stock options? How does that...
Well, what's the brother? I can't.
What if you're paid in stock options? Like, do you think you can't touch it? It says invest.
We're going to come to that in 401ks when we speak about vested, etc. Yeah. Okay. Everyone's clear on shares and stocks. You look at your intention. If you bought it to resell, you will give zakat on the entire value. You bought it as an investment, what will you do? You will give zakat on dividends and the percentage that is zakatable. And what did we say? What's the proxy? 25%. These are all things that we should know as Muslims. Wallahi. Like sometimes we go into investments and then later we think about the repercussions. Right? Or we think about, we're reactive. So now we're in this predicament and we're like, oh, what do I do? What does Sharia tell me to do? You should have thought about that from the beginning, from the onset. That is this halal for me to do? And if I'm going into it, what's the zakat going to look like, etc. These are all things that we need to be more mindful of. Now we're going to look at debts owed to you. These will also be added to your zakat. But there's some cases where they won't be added to your zakat. So there's three types of debt. There's a strong debt, there's a weak debt, and there's a bad debt. Strong debt, weak debt, and bad debt. What is a strong debt? A strong debt is I gave Brother Anis $1,000. Do I add it to my zakatable amount? Yes, I do. Who's going to pay zakat on it? He's not going to pay zakat on it. He owes it to me. Right? So in that case, I will pay zakat on that. That is zakatable. Merchandise. He sold me some books and he's still waiting for me to pay him back. He's going to add it to his zakat. I owe him $1,200. He's going to add it to the zakatable amount. Because you own, who owns that money? The lender owns that money, right? So in that case, he has to pay zakat on it. He can work out the zakat and he can give the zakat when the money comes in to his possession. Is that clear? That's a strong debt. A weak debt. Outstanding wages. You have a dispute with your employer, right? You have rental income dispute. The tenant's not paying up. Mahar. Mahar's a big one, right? Like what do people do nowadays? I have 300,000 in Mahar. They're never going to pay. It's just a joke. 300,000 in Mahar. And the woman, she's like, after a year, she's like, I'm never getting that money. Do you pay zakat on that money? It's a weak debt. Or inheritance. Inheritance is a really interesting one. I'll give you a small example of this. My grandfather passed away in 2001. My mother received her inheritance 2 years ago. Does she have to backdate? No. These are weak debts. You will only pay zakat when you receive that money. Okay? So zakat is due once received, not on previous years. Yes?
What about Kazakhstan?
We'll come to that, inshallah. Okay, guys, is that clear? So we've done the strong debt, we've done the weak debt. Now let's do a bad debt. The first type of bad debt is the person who's borrowed the money, he admits that he owes you the money. So then you'll add it to your zakatable amount. Whether he's got money or he hasn't got money, he's admitted, you're going to add it to your zakatable amount. But say, for example, you keep on trying. Years have passed, 2 years, 3 years. Then you don't have to pay zakat on it after that. Because now he's admitted to it, but he's just not paying up. It's a bad debt. In that case, you won't pay zakat on it. Is that clear? Now there's a case where you've given someone some money and you ask them, brother, can I have my $1,000 back, please? And he's like, who are you, bro? Like, I've never seen you before. What $1,000? What are you talking about? In that case, you don't pay zakat on it. Because he just denied it. He's like, I don't owe you $1,000. So these are debts that were owed to you. So you will add them in your zakat. Remember the strong debt, you'll add in your zakat. The weak debt, you won't add. The bad debt, you can add if the person has acknowledged and he said he will pay. In that case, you will add to your zakat. Yes?
That's happened to me once. One guy, I borrowed like from nothing, and after 2 years he came to me and he said, this is your money.
Yeah.
2 years.
After how many years?
20.
20. Yeah, you won't pay zakat on the previous years. You just pay away because you gave up on it. You were like, I'm never getting that money. Okay? Guys, we've got this so far, inshallah, yeah? Let's move on. We've not got long left now. Now, debts you owe. These will be deducted from the amount. So say, for example, I've got 50,000, I've worked out this is my zakatable amount. Now I'm going to start deducting things from it. So debts that you owe to others. Short-term debts due within 1 year, you will deduct it. I have 5,000 due to Hafiz Sahib here. And he's told me that pay by August. I will deduct that. It's due this year, I will deduct it. Long-term debt. This is where it gets interesting because subhanAllah, you have some of the richest and most affluent, not richest, most affluent people, and they have $300,000 mortgages on their house, $1 million mortgage on their house. What will they deduct all of that? They won't deduct all of it. They will deduct only 1 year of mortgage repayments. Minus the interest, because interest is haram. Right? So they only deduct 1 year. 1 year that they deduct from their zakat. So for example, my mortgage repayments are $30,000. My zakat, I've worked it out as 50,000. I'll reduce 50,000, 30,000 from it. That's how much is due this year. Is that clear? Short-term debts, the entire amount. Long-term debts, only the 1 year. Yes?
So just the principal, right? Not the,
Just the principal, not the interest. Yeah,
all the tax and all that stuff.
yeah, none of that. Okay.
So we buy the house for 30 years.
So every year you pay.
Every year on your zakat date, you'll deduct 1 year. 1 year of repayments. That's not making sense?
So what about the equity?
We're gonna unpack this, but let's just understand that 1 year of payments, just the principal, no interest, right? You don't deduct anything else. Yes.
Like, for example, I have a zakat like around 5,000. I'm just making it.
Yes.
And the yearly mortgages they are around $34,000.
Yes.
So how can I do that?
You deduct it and you don't pay any zakat.
Even if I do have like a lot of gold, like
No, because the gold you're gonna add to that. You're gonna say 5,000 in cash. Then I've got this much gold. That's worth 50,000. Now I have 55,000.
Okay, the total amount, not the zakat one. I was saying that the total zakat.
Don't separate it. Remember the gold and all of those things, the debts that are owed to you, all of that is added as one amount.
That's a liquid cash, basically.
Yeah. Because gold you can liquidate, right? You can liquidate it. You can get a fair share. Gold is one of those things. Wherever you go in the world, you can liquidate that gold and you get a fair share. I was going to make another point, but let's carry on. Bills that are already due. So for example, today is my zakat date and I have my electricity bill, my phone bill, my internet bill. All of these bills, I will deduct it from that account. Is that clear? Debts you owe, yes.
What do you mean by due? Like, for example, you know that you have to pay insurance 3 months later. You have to pay your car.
We're going to come to that. Let's finish the point and then inshallah. If I don't get to that point, then just ask me the question, okay? Debts you owe that are not deductible. Number one, future expenses and bills. So I say, you know what, this is a good chance. Let me put next month's electricity bill in as well. Or next month's internet bill. No, don't. It's just for this month. Just what's due right now. Interest. No. Income from unlawful sources. Someone has a liquor store and he's like, maybe he's a zakat here. You're going to say, brother, no. The Sharia doesn't want you to give you zakat. The Sharia wants you to get rid of your business. Is that clear? So that's not deductible. You don't give zakat at all on your haram income. Unlawful income must be given in charity without intending any reward. If a person, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbid, they involved in any haram, the haram income, it will be given in charity without any intention. Is that clear? So that's debts you owe. They all the deductible ones and the non-deductible ones. Now let's move on to backdating. Say for example, someone they come to the deen, they start practicing deen, and they realize that I didn't give zakat for so many years. I want to backdate. My first thing for that person would be, don't worry about previous years, work out this year. Let's start with what we can do right now. And previous years, when you're backdating, remember you will always minus the amount that is due. So say for example, you had to give zakat on 100,000 in 1444, you paid 2,500, and the next time you work out 2.5%, it's not going to be on 100,000, it's going to be on 97,500. That's pretty straightforward. When you're backdating, you will do that and your zakat will decrease. Remember, because it might be someone who's trying to pay 30 years of zakat. What we'll say to them, don't take too much stress, work out the amount, pay this year's, then the backdating, start backdating and working out how much you need, approximately how much you need to pay, and start paying it monthly. $15, $20, $30 a month, $40 a month, you get a bonus and give $100, whatever the case is, start taking small steps towards that repayment. Because zakat doesn't date a timeout. There's no timeout of zakat. It's not like, oh, a certain number of years have passed, now I don't have to do it. Right? You still have to do it. Okay, let's move on to recipients of zakat. What time are we on? Okay, we should be done. Recipients of zakat. Who are the recipients of zakat? The poor. The poor would also include that person. Remember that person who had no zakat, no zakatable assets, and he had some personal assets, but other than that, he has nothing. In that case, he's also considered the poor. The needy, those who don't even have that basic, the basic necessities. Zakat administrators, this is the ayah of the Quran on the left, and we're just going through it. Zakat administrators at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in an Islamic government, if they have zakat administrators, they would also pay them from the zakat. Those whose hearts are to be reconciled. This was something at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's not applicable today. At that time, what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did was that as the Muslims gained a stronghold, there were certain tribes that they were only threatened by. So he would give zakat to reconcile their hearts, so they don't bring about any threat to the Muslims.
I want to say stop something and I bring one.
Afterwards. Let's work through this. To free slaves, again, not applicable today. The debt ridden. If someone is overcome by debt, they have like $50,000 of debt and they have no money to their name, you can give them zakat, right? Or they have $10,000 in their bank, but they owe other people $50,000. They're debt ridden. You can help them get out of debt by giving them zakat. In the cause of Allah, and travelers in need. Not just any traveler. A traveler in need means that he's traveling, he's backpacking through Africa somewhere or through Europe somewhere and he's lost everything. He's got millions in America. He's got nothing on him right now. He's a traveler. The Sharia will say, take care of him. Even if you have to give him zakat money, give him zakat money, he's eligible. People who you cannot give zakat to. It's prohibited to give zakat to these people. One's own children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, you're supposed to take care of them anyway. They're not zakat, they're not people who can receive zakat. Your parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, you can't give them zakat. Can you give it to your uncle and auntie? Yes. You can give it in this direction, you can't give up and you can't give down. Why? Because your parents, you're supposed to take care of them. Why are you even working, and why are you even living, and why are you even making money if they're eligible for zakat? One spouse, you can't give zakat to your spouse. Your wife or your husband, you can't give him zakat. Banu Hashim, these are descendants of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They don't take zakat. They're not allowed zakat. Remember the famous hadith where Rasulullah, out of either Hassan or Hussein radiallahu anhu's mouth, he takes the date out. This is sadaqah, and this sadaqah al Muhammad, and but we don't eat sadaqah. We don't apply sadaqah. In there is a beautiful point. Ibn Taymiyyah rahmatullahi alayhi says, through this we realize what's haram on adults is also haram on children. And he goes into great detail. Silk is haram for adult men, is also haram for adult children. Gold is haram for adult men, is also haram for children as well. Okay? Persons who do not have an nisab will have goods beyond essential needs. Beyond essential needs. Remember the vacation homes, the fine art, and all of that kind of stuff. General welfare projects, we're not allowed to give zakat there. Hospitals, madrasas, no, not zakatable. Unless, there's one cliche here, one exception here. If the hospital offsets zakat to patients who are applicable for zakat, that's slightly different. There's a variation. Yes?
So, orphanage,
You can give zakat to an orphanage, yes. If they, yes.
So, to like a company that helps teach poor children, right? Like an organization that helps.
Yes. So I said madrasas, but if the madrasa has children who are eligible for zakat and they take it and they manage it well, remember that's important. That's important. That you know that the management is, you trust the management and you know that these children will be given that zakat, then you can give zakat.
Even that can be used for the tuition fees, no?
Yes, it can also be used for the tuition fees, yes. Masjid construction, not allowed. You can't give zakat towards masjid construction. Okay, now we've done our deductibles. We're going to give examples at the end, don't worry. We're going to go through some examples and some scenarios at the end. Now it's come the time of paying zakat. First thing is pay without delay. Do not postpone zakat unnecessarily. What we've said about Ramadan, you can give in Ramadan, and you can give in advance for Ramadan. Like in Ramadan, if you like to spend and you want to give zakat even for the next year, you can give it. But when that date comes, you will work out how much, if you underpaid, you will make up the difference. You make a clear intention when giving zakat. It can't be the case where I sent some sadaqah somewhere, and then I thought, my zakat date is here. Oh yeah, that's zakat. No, that's not zakat. You made no intention for that. You gave that as sadaqah, or you gave that as a gift. Don't change your intention midway through the action. So the time when you took the money out to give in zakat, that intention matters. You took it out for zakat. You can pay zakat for your spouse, for your children, but you need to do it with their acknowledgement. You need to let them know I'm paying zakat on your behalf, and with their permission, obviously. Tamleek is extremely important. The person you give zakat to, you make him the owner of that amount. Right? So you ensure that they've got full ownership. There can't be any strings attached. You give something and you're like, oh, by the way, can you do this for me? No strings attached. You give them the ownership and they have complete control of that money. It can't be in your account and you say, you can use this zakat money for you, but it's in my account. No, it has to go into their possession. So there's some requirements here. The giver must be the zakat payer or an authorized representative. The person who gives the zakat, either he's the zakat payer, that's me, or someone I've given authorization to be my representative. It might be Helping Hand, it might be Islamic Relief, I've given them the authority. The receiver, he has to be an eligible person, as we've learned, or the authorized representative. So for example, Helping Hand, Islamic Relief, these kind of organizations, they are the authorized recipient as well. So they also take care of that. The giving is not a payment for services. So it can't be the case where you give zakat, the guy's at your house, and you're like, by the way, can you just clean the slope as well? Right? You try to get extra jobs out of it. Can you trim the trees around my house? No. Don't take advantage of that. That money is his, give it to him and let him go. The recipient must take unconditional possession. There can't be any conditions to that possession. Or leave it in my account, we can do this, maybe I can put it in stocks and I'll give you some profit as well. No, just give him the money. That's not yours for you you have to give him the ownership over that. Is that clear, guys? Yes.
So if you're giving zakat to someone who gives a pound on your behalf, is that supposed to be done within that time that you have on the calendar?
The moment you've given it, you've offset your zakat. Now the representative will take care of that and he will give it out accordingly, yes.
So
just to reconcile your last point, so if it's a hospital, right, that basically runs on donations and zakat, and they only treat people who can't afford. So in that case, the point number 4, like those people don't have unconditional possession. Like the only thing they're getting out of that zakat that you pay to the hospital is that they'll get treated. You know, it's not, they're not getting
the wealth, you're right. But what they're getting unconditional treatment, right? They're getting that treatment. So that's important. Or they're getting that medication. Once they give the medication, they don't take it back. This is your medication, you're eligible for it, and you've been given. So that's what brings me on to the next point. You can give zakat in other than wealth as well. It doesn't always have to be money. So for example, in back home, you're taking care of some families, you're ensuring Ramadan, they get all the supplies for rice, meats, onions, all of those kind of things that can also be paid by zakat. You don't have to tell that person it's zakat. And that's important, because that's embarrassing, right? If a person, you tell him, oh, this is zakat, you take it. No. You can give it to them, this is from me. You don't have to tell them that this is zakat money, if you consider them to be eligible for zakat. And when you consider someone to be eligible for zakat, you don't have to act like a tax officer. Show me your statements. Show me what you got. No, just on the outset, if you assume and you make there's a strong assumption there that this person is eligible for zakat, you can give them zakat. Yes. We said in the prohibited recipients, you're not allowed to give them zakat. You can give them hadiyah, etc. Yes.
So what I was saying.
Let's finish off. Let's finish off with the examples, because a lot of this stuff is going to come in the examples. Now we're going to move on to some scenarios. Assume the nisab is $400. Remember, the assumed nisab is. This is not the real nisab. I'm just we're making an assumption here. Zayd has $399 in his bank. Is that zakatable? The money is zakatable, but has it reached the threshold? No. A house worth $300,000, is it zakatable?
No.
He has tools, he's an electrician, he has tools worth $30,000, are they zakatable?
No.
Is he liable to pay zakat?
No.
The nisab was how much?
400.
How much does he have?
399.
Okay, so he doesn't have to pay zakat. Is he eligible to receive zakat?
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, he is.
Again, this is the grey area that we are referring to. Because his essential needs are exceeding the zakatable amount, we don't take that into consideration. He's not non-essential assets. So he is eligible for zakat. He's eligible for zakat.
Essentials like he's getting work from the tools.
But look how much money he's got in his bank.
The tools work, like he is living on the tools, like the money is coming.
How do you know how many jobs he's getting?
So it's the same concept as the sugar and the flour?
Yes,
that we have.
yes.
No, not sugar and flour.
No.
Machinery.
Machinery, I know
yes.
that, I know, I'm just bringing that down because when you say that in order to make the final product, those ingredients has to be calculated.
Has to be calculated.
This is part of an ingredient for him to earn the money.
No. The tools that he has do not go to the customer. It's a service.
So
It's a service.
If he had wood or something that he was using.
Okay, let's move on to scenario 2. You don't have to give Zayd zakat, by the way. I'm not saying that. He can take zakat, but you don't have to give it to him. Don't worry about that. Okay. Amr has $200 in the bank. That's zakatable, right? $200 money, cash is zakatable. A house worth $500,000. Is it zakatable? No. 2 vacation properties. Zakatable? No. Each worth $100,000? No. Is he liable to pay zakat? Why? Because he doesn't reach the threshold of zakat, he only has $200 in his bank. Is he eligible to receive zakat?
No.
Why?
Because he can sell his property.
He can sell his vacation properties and he can get money from there. Maryam has $400 in the bank. Is that $400 that she has in the bank, is it zakatable?
Yes.
A house worth $300,000, zakatable or not?
No.
Not. One rental property worth $100,000?
No.
Not zakatable. She has a total of $700 in rental income. Zakatable. 700 plus 400 is? 1100. How much will she pay?
2.5%.
Do some quick maths. 2.5% of 1100.
275.
No.
250 for 100. 250 for 100. So 25,
Get the
26,
calculator.
2750.
She'll give 2750 in zakat. Scenario 4. Karima has $600 in the bank. Zakatable or non-zakatable?
Yes, zakatable.
A house worth $300,000. Zakatable or not zakatable?
No.
One resale property worth 100,000.
Yes.
She bought it with the intention. And one property for rent worth 200,000.
No.
No, not zakatable. So how much is her total zakatable amount? 100,600. How much zakat will she pay? Whoever's got the phone out, just work it out. 2.5% of
$5.15, $25.15.
$2,515. $15. Okay. Let's move on to scenario 5. Bakr has $5,000 in the bank. Is it zakatable?
Yes.
A factory property worth 200,000.
No.
Not zakatable. Machinery worth 100,000. Not zakatable. Inventory worth 10,000. Zakatable?
Yes.
Yes. How much does he have to pay zakat on? What's his total amount?
15,000.
15,000. 2.5% of 15,000.
So it's 10,000, 2,500 and another
$375. Okay, alhamdulillah. Let's move on to the last one. Zayd, this one is where I'm going to discuss 401ks. Zayd has $15,000 in the bank. Zakatable or not zakatable?
Yes.
He has 10,000 in his 401k.
Yes.
5,000 contributed by him and 500 company match. 5,000 company match. Is it zakatable?
Yes.
401ks, let me make it clear because I don't want to get into a discussion, that's why I didn't bring them up earlier. I just want to say this and head out the door and say Assalamu alaikum. 401ks, they are zakatable. Your 401ks are zakatable. I'm going to give you two opinions of the scholars here. One opinion is you will minus, if you were to take that amount out, 10,000 out today, you will minus the penalties, you will minus the tax, and you will give zakat on the rest. But it stays in the 401k. Does that make sense? The second opinion, and this is the opinion that I hold, you give zakat on the whole amount. Because why are you minusing the tax? Did you pay any tax on it? Why are you minusing the penalties? Did you pay any penalties? You're just assuming that if I take it out today, there will be these penalties. So in that case, what will you do? You'll pay zakat on the whole amount. What I'm telling you clearly, there's two opinions. You can follow whichever one you see better and look into this matter as well for yourself, for those who have 401ks. Let's continue. Let's continue with the scenario. So the 10,000 is zakatable. Machinery worth 25,000. Zakatable or non-zakatable?
No.
Inventory worth 2,500.
Yes.
Zakatable.
Yes.
There's a $1,000 fine if he withdraws the 401k currently.
Deduction.
Depending on which opinion you take, you will deduct. Or the opinion you take that when you want to pay the complete amount, you won't deduct. How much zakat should he pay if the 401k is vested?
Full amount.
Full amount. So if the company gives him that without any conditions. If it's unvested, basically they say to him, you're going to live with us for life. In that case,
Depending on the value.
you won't pay zakat on the unvested 401k. You'll only pay on the vested 401k. Okay? Does anyone want to work this out? How much zakat is due? No one wants to work it out. Well, you've got the idea, alhamdulillah. Right? So, yeah, alhamdulillah, that's it. We call it a day, inshallah. And
So
yes.
on the giving the zakat and the recipient of the zakat, there is few things. One, I want to bring this point out, and maybe you can weigh in. And I don't agree with that. The Fiqh Council of North America, somebody asked a question about giving your zakat money to the politician to bring them to the side of the Muslim. And they're using this, the recipient of that, softening the heart. Even the masajid are using it. In my opinion, it is not correct. You
I
can
don't think
shed
it's
some
correct.
light.
Let's go back to the verse. Because the verse is what tells us who's eligible for zakat. Right? The verse tells us, I understand this is, they're doing ijtihad in this matter.
Yes.
That, or we're reconciling the hearts. But let me tell you, rather than give it to a campaign for a political campaign that someone's running, I'd rather give it to the hungry. I'd rather give it to the needy. Right? Listen to this. Omar ibn Abdul Aziz, rahmatullah alayh, very famous Caliph of Islam. You know, the Kaaba traditionally was always clothed. Like they always had the curtain of the Kaaba, as it is today. The person who was in charge of the Kaaba, he wrote a letter to Omar ibn Abdul Aziz and said, oh, we want some new cloth for the Kaaba. You know what Omar ibn Abdul Aziz said? I'd rather give that money to feed a hungry stomach than hang it from the Kaaba. Priorities. So that's the same priority we need to apply when we're doing this. Yes? The masjid, if it collects the zakat to give to the needy, yes. If the masjid is collecting the zakat for the new dome, then no. Which they not, by the way.
No, we do. We locally distribute about $70,000-$80,000
Alhamdulillah.
a year.
Alhamdulillah.
A
That's
year.
beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful concept. Like they locally distribute. Yeah.
And last thing I have a question is this: if I give, because there's a lot of people from like problems in Yemen, Sudan especially, and if I give it to somebody and say this, distribute the food bag, is it I'm putting a condition or it is something?
No, you can do that. You can give it in different.
I can.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can give zakat in as food as well. You can give food, distribute food and so on. Yes. Anything else?
What about the food vouchers? Because sometimes I've heard that there are like local zakat distributors that they will give a certain amount of like food and then they'll give like hand out the rest of the vouchers so they can use that.
That's fine as well. As long as the voucher isn't, there's no conditions to that voucher. It's going to run out after a week.
They're only allowed for food. Is that they can only use it like as food against food? They can't use it.
No, he's talking about, you talking about fitr, fitrana. He's talking about fitrana.
No.
Nobody.
So they give the wealth to him. But again, you make it, what I would say in that case, they're putting conditions and restrictions around it. If you go and you give someone 10 pounds of chicken, and that's for their food for Ramadan and for the children to eat, you've given it to them. That's it. Here you're giving them a voucher and saying, now you come back and do this and ask here and ask there. I would say no. Personally, I would say no. Yes. Anything else? Let's finish off. Yes.
Like I have a for my kids. Like I got it like at their investment. But the thing is like if anytime like any bad times comes on me and I can sell that. Like I would like to sell that gold to clear off my debt as compared to get money from the people.
Yes.
So should I give them that zakat?
If it belongs to your children, you haven't touched it till today. You've kept it for your children.
Yeah.
It will be non-zakatable. The moment you sell it and take some money, you liquidate it. Now that money is in your hand, is in your possession, and it's yours. If your zakat date comes, you will add it to your zakat. Okay? Yes.
Personal property equity. If you have a home and you have equity on it, is it zakatable?
Is it zakatable? No, it's not zakatable.
Even if it's fixed in the stock.
Even if it's against itself, yes. Yes.
Let's say you have a adult relative, not your brother or sister, not your parents or grandparents. Their parents may have difficulty paying this college tuition and stuff. Can they use zakat towards that?
If they're eligible for zakat, you can give it.
Okay, I guess the child, the person, like young adult going to college, they necessarily are qualifiable, right? It doesn't matter if the parents are well or not, right?
Yes. Yes, yeah, that's right. You're right. If they're eligible for zakat, you can give it to them. Okay. Yes. But again, I would say look at the recipients of zakat and give it to the ones who are more in need. College students live lavish lives. They chill, right? They might be in debt and so on. But still. Okay. On that point, remember what I said? Going upwards, you can't give zakat. Downwards, you can give it to your brother and sister. If your brother or sister is eligible for zakat, you can give it to them. Your uncles and aunties, etc. Yes.
So you have a primary home that you're living in. Again, you not intend to sell it, but at some point you decide to sell it, and you cash it out. What happened to that money?
That money, if it coincides with your zakat date, and that money is in your hand, is zakatable. Yeah. Yes.
Just to, I just wanted to give a solid example to make sure I understand. So let's say, I live in a house, the value was 100K, and you've sold it to me for 150K for 15 years. So I pay basically 100,000 on it every year, right? Which includes, 66% is, sort of my equity, 34% is your profit. Do I deduct all that 100K from my zakat?
Remember what I said, if it's a long-term loan, you will only deduct the amount that is due on that in 1 year.
Right, so in 1 year, basically 100K is due, which includes both your profit as well as the equity I'm holding. So I subtract the whole 100K.
Principal, right?
Only principal only.
Only principal. Not very
No, but again, for example, it's Islamic way of financing it. For example, you sold me something, value is 100,000, but you sold me for 150,000. So there is no like interest. Even if you have done something in the back, it's between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm not saying you did it, but the person who is taking that loan, he is buying it for 150. So the price is 150. So, and it's for 10 years, so that means 15,000 a year. Without any deduction, like there is no interest or anything. He's paying.
There's no interest, so
he's agreed upon the value of the price. So then
he deduct the entire amount.
Then he can do it.
Yes, I said interest is not
I think
deductible.
that was the point
Yes.
somebody is asking.
Let's wrap it up, boys. What time are we on? Yeah, two last questions. Let's go.
Can you go over the start dates again for someone?
Go over the
start date, the year, 1 year from them, for someone who consistently goes below or below. Like,
if someone goes below Nisab, the next time, if they hit zero, if they go below Nisab, they don't change the date. So, hear me out. It could be that my date is the 12th of Rabiul Awwal. Rabiul Awwal comes, I'm below the Nisab, I don't pay any zakat. I move on, and that 12th of Rabiul Awwal remains as my date, and I will check it next year. If I, in between those months, if I go down to zero, if I hit a complete zero, in that case, I will have to restart my date, and the next time I reach the threshold, I'll make a note of that date, and I will go according to that date. It'll be a reset of the date. Yes?
what if you have an asset, let's say you bought a car for $1,000, you fixed it and you sold it for $4,000, would you count and your Nisab was, you were at zero beforehand. And
Now we have $4,000.
you have $4,000, but you count it when you acquired the car, or you count it after you sold the car?
No, once the money is in your hand.
Okay.
Once the money is in your hand. And remember, what did I say here at the beginning? You can go off either one of these nisabs. Either you can go with 1452 or you could go for 12732. You will go according to one of the two, either gold or silver. We said that silver is more beneficial for the poor, so you go with that. But if you want, you can also go with gold. Okay? Yes.
Like, it's like a scenario, like someone in our family, they have like an accident and the woman dies and they are asking for the money. It's not like they are not putting any FIR or kid. It was the kid hit the woman. And now they are asking for the like family is asking for the car. But we know that like but they work, they have a good house, they have a car, they have like one kid studying in Malaysia, they have a lot of
No
gold.
zakat.
They are not the car.
No zakat. No. They won't be eligible for zakat in that case. Okay, Jazakallah khair, inshallah. Next time we can try to do this over 2 sessions. There's a lot of information, lots of questions. If there's any questions, you can ask Brother Anis and he can send it forward.
That's the